Okay, let's get to business. So welcome to the show. In today's video, we'll be going through the Avalanche network. We'll be seeing some of the statistics, some of the wallets, the traction it has gotten so far, and what they are up to. So let's get to the slide. I will be presenting this entire slide. Okay. So build without limits, Avalanche. So let's see some of the metrics so far. For decentralized finance, we can see a total of having the chunk of 5.5% of total decentralized finance. If you look at all the protocols combined, so that is like $11 billion. We have NFTs for the past few days, which is like 7 days. Top 3 after Ethereum, Solana, we have Avalanche, and then if you look at volume over time, it's around the top 7 for NFTs. And then when you look at things like there's a new niche where Avalanche is coming to play, which is called the litigation financing. So which is called the initial litigation offerings, where with Avalanche, unlike ICUs where you can crowdfund and say, okay, we want to invest in a protocol or an app, you can crowdfund for justice. So let's take, for example, a case. A group of people or a community is seeking justice against a party and they don't have the necessary resource to pursue the case. You could crowdfund it, have agreement and say, okay, whatever damages is paid, this is the percentage now will come back. So it's a 50-50. When you pursue a case, you now win the case or you lose the case. So, but most cases are lost because they are not pursued. Why are they not pursued? Because they don't have, the people who are seeking justice don't have the necessary finance to go about it. So with initial litigation offerings, and then gets solved. So you basically tokenize justice. And then Avalanche is one of the most staked coin out there. Okay, so let's talk about Avalanche. First, let's talk about the evolution of consensus. We have the likes of the classical consensus. This is like 50 years in distributed systems, where we have the likes of Leslie Lamport and Lamport says anybody can join a network, but it has to be permissioned, and you have to be invited. And this one does not actually scale. That's some of the drawbacks. So number one, it does not scale. Number two, you have to be invited, and the rest of them. And then we have Nakamoto consensus, which is being used in crypto, Bitcoin. Anybody from anywhere can join. It is permissionless. There is an incentive for it. You run hash, and then it does not scale. It is some of the other drawback. And we have Avalanche consensus. It uses random sampling, and it was introduced by Team Rocket, an anonymous team. That is what Avalanche is using. And then with Avalanche, the design of blockchains have evolved. Before now, the first blockchains we have the likes of Bitcoin that does payments very well and store value. We have the likes of Namecoin, Peercoin. But Ethereum came on the scene to say it's a general purpose blockchains, and that's why we have L1s and L2s and the rest of them. But if you look at the design of this network, you're basically putting everything inside one highway. So let's take, for example, someone who wants to build a decentralized application around school, maybe checking of results and other payments of school fees, tuition fees, and the rest of them. We put their application on a blockchain with some people that are doing trading, high frequency trading or options. It becomes a very tough one. So they are paying the same fees, which ought not to be. How about you have a network where you can spin up your own sub network? So you have a network inside a network, but there is a general consensus where validators can choose what to validate on or what to validate. That's where Avalanche actually comes in. So for the case of the DApp that you want to use for school fees like building, you can just spin up a subnetwork. That one don't need much validators. And then those who want to do trading can have a subnetwork that suits. Those who want to do gaming can have a subnetwork that suits their applications, and the list continues. So that is possible with Avalanche. So let's talk about Avalanche. Avalanche uses random sampling to achieve consensus. It's a modular blockchain that you can do a lot of things with it. It is interoperable, it's flexible, and all that. And we're talking a little bit about subnetworks. Subnetworks, anybody can create a subnetwork. You can create a private subnetwork that does, if you say you want your subnetwork to have private transactions or zero knowledge proofs, you can do that. A subnetwork can be permissionless, meaning you can create a subnetwork and it's open. Anybody can join the subnetwork. Or you can create a permission subnetwork. Let's take, for example, a consortium of banks can create a subnetwork to do whatsoever. A subnetwork can also be app specific. So if you are doing gaming or you are doing trading, you're doing just any kind of function, you can create a subnetwork that suits your needs. Okay, I need a subnetwork that I just want the transaction to be X amount. It's okay. And then another thing again about Avalanche is that with subnetworks, there is a current subnetwork on the network that is EVM compatible. So what that means is that if you already know how to use Ethereum and Ethereum to stack, you are good to go. Things like MetaMask, Solidity, Hardhat, Remix, and a host of other functions. And then Avalanche also helps with custom virtual machines. So what that means is that, like, one of the Ethereum virtual machine that supports the Solidity programming language and the Viper, you can create your own virtual machine that supports anything. You can support Rust, you can support anything. So there are different kind of nodes on the Avalanche network. We have Crabada nodes that can help bootstrap those who are coming in the store, basically everything. We have the full clients and then we have the light clients. Therefore, TPS, if you look at the likes of existing chains like Bitcoin, Ethereum, and the rest of them, they are very slow. Avalanche has a surprising TPS of 4,500. And then Avalanche is already in production, so it's not something that it's not a concept that is still being built. No, from the scratch, though it's still being built, but there are a lot of applications deploying it. One of the likes of Crabada, a game that is one of the top games out there. BenQi, if you want to do borrowing, and you can see there's a lot of money locked in there. We have Trader Joe, if you want to do things like lending and all that. Avalanche, if you want to do a launchpad. So for bridges, if you are already in the Ethereum ecosystem, you can use the Avalanche to Ethereum bridge, which is the official bridge. You can use stuff like the Seller network bridge. You can use the multi-chain bridge, the bridge to Avalanche. And then you can even use exchanges like Binance to bridge to the C-chain and all that. And then this is the Avax chain. So the Avax chain, currently there's Avalanche, which we talk about, it's composed of subnetworks. So there are 3 subnetworks that are already created by the system. We have the S chain, which is handles asset creation, asset exchange, and all that. And then it handles the Avalanche consensus protocol. We have the P chain that handles validators and help with creating of subnetworks. And then we have the C chain currently that is EVM compatible, that executes the EVM logic. And then we have the Avalanche Rush. So these are programs that have been designed to incentivize people to deploy decentralized finance applications on Avalanche. And we have the multiverse. So with multiverse, this whole concept of subnetworks, Avalanche have created 3 subnetworks by the whole team. Now anybody can create a sub network, and it becomes very powerful. And like I talked about, the likes of Crabada. Crabada is even creating its own sub network to spin up things for themselves. Okay, so let's move on to the next slide. So can you talk about wallets? Yeah, so we'll also be creating a subsequent video on how to go about setting up the MetaMask for Avax. It's very pretty easy to do. Okay, so for staking, you can stake from the official Avax wallet. So staking from the official Avax wallet is very easy. You can stake. You need a minimum of 25 Avax to stake or delegate to the network. You can also stake from an exchange, but that's not really staking per se. And then you can also run a node, and you require 2,000 Avax to be able to run a node. So can you talk about some of the exchanges where people can get hold on Avax? Coinbase, yeah, Coinbase, FTS, KuCoin, and we could just list a few of them here. And then the concept of liquid staking. So before now, if you stake your Avax tokens, you just lock them up and get reward. But now you get a derivative of what you staked. So the derivative of what you stake is it's like a token that represents ownership of what you've staked. You can do anything with it. You can trade with it. You can borrow against it. You can do anything with it. Now, for you to get back your original tokens, you will have to submit the derivative when you need it. So there are a few of them. We have Anchor with A Avax B. Then we have BenQi with S Avax. So with S Avax, you can even get loans on platforms like Anchor Protocol. There are integrations, which we'll talk about in subsequent videos. And then we'll talk about the tokenomics. So this is a token distribution. And can you talk about some of the tokenomics? And there is a total of 720 million tokens in total. And then there is something I actually forgot to put in this slide, which we will review later, is the Avax bond. Just like EIP 155, we bond part of the token transaction fee. For Avax, you bond some of the tokens. And let me show that Avax bond. So Avax is a deflationary token. It's fixed, so it's not like Ethereum where there is inflation, and all that. So as transactions have been paid, my network is, it could not access that. So disappointing. Okay, let's continue the slide. I'll put the link to that in the video. Okay, some of the advisors are Adam Crabada, Maureen, and then the CEO is a very prolific CEO. He created one of the first cryptocurrency called Karma in 2002 that uses proof of work. Before that was before Satoshi. We have Kevin Shenichki. Oh, pardon. And then we have Ted. Who created the hot stuff protocol that is being used in Libra. So he's working on Avalanche. Then these are some of the information if you want to learn more. So if you want to learn more, there are places you can learn more from. We have Avax Daily on Twitter. I have a wiki Ethereum that's sponsored by Avalanche. You have the official sources like that, which we talked about in the previous slides, and Crypto Academy, which is this channel. So that is the short review about Avalanche. So in general, what do you think about the Avalanche network? Okay, so I was trying to get hold of the bond adverse, which did not actually work before. So this is the bond adverse website. It tracks how many adverse have been bonds over time. You can track it in USDT, or you can also track it in Avax and the rest of them. So Avax is hard cap, as you can see here. It is hard cap, so many no new tokens will be created. So with time they just bond some, like you can see some operations, fees that have been bond and the rest of them. So, and that is very good for the protocol. The price of the token in the long run, because as more of it is being taken off the supply over time, it becomes very, very profitable to use. Okay, so in subsequent videos we will be talking about some of the project in depth, things like going through reviews for Crabada and a host of other applications. So thank you very much for tuning in today. Hope to see you next time.